Okay, thank you, sir. Saloni, you can go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Saloni Bukare, and I am from IT Department of Pimpri-Chinchwad College of Engineering, Pune, and I'll be your anchor throughout this series. First of all, I'd like to thank all the participants for tuning in from all over India, and it's such a surreal feeling for having over 600 registrations already. So, welcome to Computer Networks and Information Security webinar series. This is a 10 days program technically sponsored by IEEE Pune section at Computer Society Chapter Pune and Special Interest Group of Computer Network Security of IT Department, Pimpri-Chinchwad College of Engineering. We extend our thanks to Mr. Girish Khilari, Chair IEEE Pune section, Dr. Amar Buchade, Secretary IEEE Pune section, and Dr. Rajesh Ingre, Chair IEEE Computer Society Chapter Pune. We'll be having four speakers who would be addressing us for the following coming days, starting with Professor Ramkrishna Vadali sir, followed by Dr. Jayashree Katti ma'am, Professor Rohini Piche ma'am, and Dr. Sonali Patil ma'am. I'd request our HOD, Dr. Sonali Patil ma'am, to say a few words.
Thank you, Saloni. Good morning, all. I, Dr. Sonali Patil, welcome you all on behalf of Information Technology Department, PCCOE, for this 10 days national level boot camp on computer network and information security, technically sponsored by IEEE Pune section and IEEE Computer Society chapter. First of all, I would like to thank PCT management, Principal Dr. Parishwar sir, IEEE Pune section chair Dr. Girish Khilari, IEEE Computer Society Chapter Chair Dr. Rajesh Ingre, and IEEE Pune Section Secretary Dr. Amar Buchade sir for their valuable guidance and support. I would like to take this opportunity to brief you about PCCOE, Pimpri Chinchwad College of Engineering, Pune. PCCOE is an NAAC accredited college with ISO 9001:2015 certified institute, permanently affiliated to SPPU and affiliated to AICT New Delhi. I'm very happy to share with you all that PCCOE is consecutively in top 200 positions at NIRF survey for the year 2019, 2018, and 2017. At PCCOE, we are having various courses like UG Engineering, PG Engineering, PhD course, MBA, and MCA programs. Information Technology, IT Department PCCOE is also twice NBA accredited and having intake of 120 for UG Engineering and 24 for PG Engineering. IT department is having highly qualified faculties with state-of-the-art infrastructure. At IT department, students are having excellent record in academics as well as placements. I thank Computer Network Security Special Interest Group, IT department in charge, Dr. Jayashree Katti ma'am and Professor Vadai sir for taking the initiative for this bootcamp. I thank complete CNS team, Meera, Chaitrali, Priyanka ma'am and all for their wholehearted involvement. Also, I thank student volunteers for their support. And lastly, I would like to thank all the participants who have joined this bootcamp program. I wish all the participants very enriching experience during this bootcamp. So wish you all the best and thank you once again to all. Over to you, Saloni. Meera.
Continue on behalf of Dr. Amar Buchade sir to say few words. Hello.
Uh, Hello, myself Dr. Amar Buchde. I am a secretary IEEE Police section. So, through this is very good opportunity to participants uh, to have this boot camp. and also this covers relevant about network. Also, blockchain topic is also covered. So I am very thankful to PCCOE Department of Information Technology for organizing this national level bootcamp. Thank you all. Best wishes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. Saloni, you can continue with the introduction of Vadai, sir.
So let me introduce you to our today's speaker, Professor Ramkrishna Wadali, sir. Professor Wadali is currently working as Head, Systems and IT Support, and also working as Assistant Professor. He also has developed an ERP for PCCOE and Sandeep Foundation. So let's get started with today's session. Over to you, sir.
Well, good morning, all participants. We are going to start our today's session, and I'm going to start sharing my screen. Just give me 2 minutes, and we'll start. Yeah, all of you can you see my screen? Participants, please respond through the
Yes,
chat box.
yes, screen is visible, sir.
Okay, yeah. So we'll go ahead and start today's session. That is the basic introduction of the computer networks. So prior to starting of the session, I would like to highlight few of the things that what is a network, why network is very essential, and how this network can play an essential role for our day-to-day life. Okay, so to begin with, when we are saying computer network or when we are saying network, it means collection of the devices in any of the form, whether you can say a collection of computers, you can say a collection of the mobile network, okay, collection of so many printers. If those are intelligent printers, comes with an NIC, those can definitely talk with each other. So when we are saying computer network, definitely we have to address so many aspects. Okay, so first part what we are seeing here is the introduction part to the computer network. So what is a computer network? When we are saying a computer network, so few of the things which we should definitely understand, that computer network is a set of all connected devices through some link. Here when we are saying link means it can be any of the form. It can be through a wireless, it can be through a wired connection, or it can be any available media which is available. Okay, and when we are saying the computer network, so primarily the highlight which I had said, like it is through a distributed processing. So when we are saying distributed processing means your entire process will not take place at one location, rather it is going to be divided up into different computers. Okay, so it can be in the form of file sharing, it can be in the form of processing. Okay, so if you see here, that is instead a single computer handles the entire task, the each separate computer handles a subset. Okay, so when we talk about the advantages while talking about the distributed computing, so limited interaction. When we are saying limited interaction means the person like you as a you as a participant, when you are interacting with a group of people, you are having limited interaction, right? And the host will be having a complete control over the resources, and on the basis of those controls the sessions are getting delivered. Okay, so this will ensure the security aspect. So security aspect in sense of your limited interaction. So if we are talking about an example, so you can think of a bank which allows the users to access their own accounts through an ATM without allowing them to access the bank's entire database. So when you go to your ATM, you swipe your card and you can get the amount from your account. So that is one part. Second thing, the most important aspect, that is the faster problem solving. So when we are saying faster problem solving means, since we are saying that multiple computers are engaged to resolve or to solve a problem, that is definitely your work will be, or your task will be resolved within a click of a second. Now security through redundancy, when we are saying, so here when we are saying a redundancy, so why it is a redundant, because multiple computers running the same program at the same time can provide the security through the redundancy. Okay, so what is an example? So if we think of an example, then what is the major aspect that will come into your focus? That can be 4 computers run the same program. Okay, and any computer has an hardware error, then the other computers can override it, since you are talking about collection of resources or collection of the computers. Okay, so the most important aspect is this. Next is your features. So when we talk about the features of the computer networks, when we talk about features of the computer network, so definitely we will be talking about the communication speed, the file sharing, backup and rollback, which is very which can easily happen. Okay, I'll come to all these points one after one. Then your software and hardware sharing, how you are sharing your resources in terms of hardware, and when you are talking about resource sharing in the form of the application or in the form of the file sharing. And definitely what we talked about, that is the security aspect. So when you are trying to deal with the security aspect, so since you don't know that where exactly your file resides from here, so you will be more secure. That is point number one. Scalability, definitely yes, at any point of time, if there is a dearth of resources, so you will be able to add more number of resources to address the needs as per the requirements. Okay, so and the reliability, definitely it will be more reliable, since your dependency is not over one single system. Okay, now if I'm talking about the communication speed with respect to the network, so why it is important? Because your network provides us to communicate over the network in a fast and efficient manner. Okay, so for example, we can do a video conferencing, which we are doing right now, email messaging over the internet. Okay, so what we can say all together, it is a great way to share our knowledge and ideas. Okay, next thing is file sharing. This is another very important feature of the computer network. Okay, so it provides us to share the files with each other. Next is your rollback. and backup is very easy. So why it is easy? Because the files are stored in the main server, which is centrally located, and therefore you will be able to get the backup from the main server. So software and hardware sharing, when you are saying, so we can install the applications on the main server, and therefore the user can access the application centrally. And what we can say, so we don't have to need to install the software on each and every machine. Okay, and similarly the hardware also can be shared. All right. So any of the participant, if they are having any question, they can write their question in the chat box, and all these questions will be answered tomorrow in the tomorrow's session. Okay. So when you are talking about the security, then coming back to your security aspect, so network allows the security by ensuring that the user has the right to access the certain files and the applications. Okay, so you host certain files with read only, write only, or read write only privileges. All those privileges can be taken care of when you are saying that your file or your information is secure. Next point is your scalability. As I already said, so what you have to think about, that is your network must be scalable so that we can extend the network by adding new devices. So while designing your network, while you design your basic network, so you have to understand that you have to project in such a manner so that all your future needs should be able to get addressed by whatever available resources or whatever sizing we are trying to do. Okay, and next thing is reliable. When we are saying reliable, your computer network can use the alternative resources or alternative sources for data communication in case of hardware failure. So what all those resources and how the communication will take place, definitely we are going to address in the upcoming sessions one after one. Okay, next, the components. As we, most of us are already aware that when you are talking about the components, so components of the network, rather I will say that the most essential component, that is your NIC, that is your network interface card. So why it is essential? Because it is like, unless and until you are having NIC is attached to your machine, your computer cannot be identified over the network, because it provides you the IP level, source level addressing, where you can identify yourself over the network. So it contains the hardware address, the data link layer protocol, which takes care of this. Okay, and use this address to identify the system on the network so that it transfers the data to the correct destination. All right. So when we are saying the component levels, so when we are talking about the NICs, so NIC is an hardware component that is used to connect the computer with another computer over the network. So as I said, it is basically used to identify a machine over a network. All right. And what is the minimum and maximum which your NIC can go up to? So minimum is 10 Mbps and maximum is 1 gig. That is your 1000 Mbps. So we get all sort of NICs in between this range. So minimum is 10 and maximum is 1000. Normally when we, PPT is not visible, is it not visible to all, or participants can respond? Is it visible?
Sir, it's visible, clearly visible. It might happen
Visible.
because of network issue. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah, thank you. All right, so when we are talking about the transfer rate, data transfer rate, as I said, the minimum is 10 Mbps and maximum is 1000 Mbps. Okay, and now the MAC address. So when you are talking about your NIC, so two things will definitely come into the picture. That is the data link level addressing, and next one is the IP addressing. Okay, which this will provide. So the MAC address, what exactly it is? So MAC address or physical address, it is an encoded on your network card chip, which is assigned by IEEE, okay, to identify a network card uniquely. So whatever information is printed over your NIC, that is going to be your static information or a unique information which cannot be changed. Okay, so the MAC address is stored where it is stored. It is stored in PROM, that is your programmable read only memory. Okay, right. So Now, when we are talking about NICs, so these days, two types of NICs will come into the picture. That is your wired NICs and wireless NIC. Okay. So when we are saying a wireless NIC, so all the modern laptops, which most of us are using today for attending the session, so it has a wireless NIC. That is a connection that is made by using the antenna that employs the radio wave technology. Okay, radio wave technology. Now again, why the radio thing comes into the picture? Because your NIC requires the data to travel back and forth. So when the data is required to travel back and forth, means definitely the frequency will come into the picture. So the radio frequency, when you are talking about, so your laptops will come from it starts from 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz frequency. Okay, this is the band which your routers also are having. We'll come back on this. Okay, we will have a detailed discussion over this radio technology. And second one is your wired NIC. Wired NIC, that is cables that uses the wire NICs to transfer the data over a medium. Okay, so next one, when you are saying a hub, which is again next most important aspect, which earlier people used to use the hub. Nowadays, everyone is using the switches instead of your hub. So what is a hub? Hub is a hardware device that divides the network or that splits the network connection to multiple devices. Okay, when one computer requests for some information from a network, it first sends the request to the hub through a cable. Okay, now here the most important thing is hub is not an intelligent device. Okay, hub is not an intelligent device. Okay, so whatever it will receive, it will broadcast, because it is not aware. So it will broadcast this request to entire network. Okay, whoever is connected with that hub, everyone is going to receive each and every information or a data from the broadcast. Okay, and all these devices will check whether the request belongs to them or not. Okay, so everyone is going to receive that request or from the hub or the data which is sent across uh, the connected devices through the hub. Everyone will receive, and everyone is going to check that whether that particular data belongs to me or not. If it doesn't belongs to me, then I'll simply drop that message. Okay, and the process used by hub consumes more bandwidth. Okay, so it will consume more bandwidth and the limit of amount of communication also. Okay, hub is not very much capable. Okay, so nowadays the use of hub is obsolete, as I said, and it is replaced by more advanced computer network components, that is your switches and your routers. Okay, now next most important aspect which each one of us should be taking into consideration, number one is your switch. So when we are saying a switch, so what is essential here is, so it is a networking devices that groups all devices over the network to transfer the data to another device. Okay, so why switch is better than hub? Because it does not broadcast the message over the network, rather it sends the message to the device for which it belongs to. Means every switch will maintain a table, that is the switching table, where your MAC and IP address mapping happens, and through some protocols, and those messages will be sent across to the desired destination. Okay, so we can say that switch sends the message directly from source to the destination, because I am aware that to whom I am supposed to send, who all are connected with me. Okay, next most important aspect when we are saying, am I audible? Hello?
You are.
Yeah. So next most important aspect that that is visible Are the slides visible, madam?
Yes, slides are visible. So it's clearly visible.
All right. So when we are talking about cables and connectors, next part. Now, since we are talking about, we have to deal with that how the transmission is required to take place. So the most importantly, what we have to consider here is the three types of cables, which all of us must be aware in day in and day out. If we are saying that we are seeing all every day these cables. So twisted pair cable. So it is high speed cable that transmits over data over 1 Gbps or more. And when we are saying a coaxial cables, that resembles like a TV installation cable. So whatever TV signals are coming to our home, that is coming through your TV coaxial cable. So it is more expensive than twisted pair, but it provides the high data transmission speed. Now the where the revolution came, that is your as soon as this fiber optic cables comes into the existence. Okay, so fiber optic cable, when we are saying, so it transmits the high speed cable, it transmits the data using the light beam. So normally these are class 2 laser lights which is being used to transmit the data. Okay, so it provides high data transmission speed as compared to other cables. So it is more expensive as compared to other cable. So the installation is at the government level. Okay, so now why it is very very fastly you will be able to send, because we know that the fastest thing available over our planet, what is known, that is your light, the speed of the light, that is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So that is the reason what we are seeing here, that is your fiber optic cable is the fastest one. So next one is your router. So when you are saying router, so it is a device that connects the LAN to the internet. Okay, so router, when we are saying, it works over layer 3, that is your network layer of the OSI reference model, that is open system interconnection. Okay, we are going to see that how and at what layer the router basically presents itself. Okay, so it is a device that connects to the LAN to the internet. So the router is mainly used to connect the distinct network or connect the internet to the multiple computers. Okay, so what a router does? So router in whatever format, in whatever way it receives the packets based on the information available with the routing table which is present inside the router, it is going to forward the information. Okay, and additional thing it does for us is that it is going to opt for the best possible path, okay, for sending the data from source to destination. So when you are talking about the advantages of your router, we can say that it is secure, reliable, the performance and the network range. Now again, your router also goes with two of the options. One is your 2.5 gigahertz and second one is your 5 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz, right? So next one is your modem. So earlier we used to get all our internet resources to our home through a modem. So modem connects the computer to the internet over the existing telephone line. All right. So these days, whatever data we are getting to our home, so basically it is everything is coming through a one single cable. That is your voice and the data. So the capability is extended to that level these days. Okay, so a modem is not integrated with the computer's motherboard. It is definitely the external device. What we call modem is your CPE also, that is another word. Okay, so this CPE abbreviation is known as customer premises equipment. Okay, so these modems can be of any of the type, that is your standard PC modem or your cellular modem or your cable modem. So depends on the requirement, you normally get your modem. Okay, so when you are talking about the resources, when you are talking about the resources sharing can happen through your computer network and through the communication medium in the form of client and server, and these are the applications which can be hosted through your computer network over the internet through the network. Okay. Now these are components which we already try to looked upon. That is your hub, switch, router, and your twisted pair connection. So twisted pair connection, we will go into detail of this one after one. Okay, at the later part. So next is your most important aspect is your types of network. So when you are saying types of network, so basically entire thing divides up into 4 different parts. That is your LAN, PAN, MAN, and WAN. So it starts from your personal area network, then local area network, metropolitan area network, and WAN. Now here I would like to say that our cell phone connection, our cell phone network, how the data transfer is going to happen is the best example of your WAN only. Okay. Now, when you are saying a LAN, so local area network, that is a group of computers connected to each other in a small area such as building or office. So your parameters or your what you call geography is very limited when you are saying a LAN. That is the reason we said like it is in the buildings or the offices. So LAN is used for connecting two or more personal computers through a communication medium such as twisted pair or coaxial cable. Okay, so it is less costly as it is built with inexpensive hardware such as your hubs, network adapters, and the Ethernet cables. Okay, so the data transferred at an extremely faster rate in your local area network. Now this is completely dependent on the kind of NIC you are having over your local machine. So normally these days desktops comes with 100 Mbps or in some cases it goes by your 1 Gbps also. Okay, so local area networks, it provides the higher security. Okay, so when you are saying that highly secure, yes, you have to go with certain protocols also. So how it can be, those things we are going to elaborate during your upcoming sessions. So next is your personal area network. So you create a network. What you can do, you go to your laptop and open the hotspot. Okay, so this will create a personal area network where you connect your mouse, wireless mouse. You can get the internet connection over your phone wirelessly. You can connect it to your printer, headphones, all sort of things. Okay, so personal area network is a network that arranged within an individual person, typically within a range of 10 meters, 30 feet. That is the maximum range which a PAN can work on. Okay, so personal area network is used for connecting the computer devices of personal use is known as your personal area network. So who started first this? That is Thomas Zimmerman was the first research scientist to bring the idea of PAN into the picture. So it covers up to 30 feet, as I said. Okay, so personal computer devices are used to develop the PAN. That can be your laptop, mobile phone, media player, or playing stations, playstations. Okay, and types. So again, two types are there. That is your wireless PAN and the wired PAN. So when you are saying wireless, so two kinds you can connect if your laptop is capable or if your device is capable of providing the connectivity through Bluetooth. So you can do that, or else definitely you are having a Wi-Fi card because you are already rendering the internet services over your laptop. Okay, but it is a low range in network. Okay, and wired PAN, if you are saying, so it is created by using a USB, like a small USB device comes, you simply attach it to your laptop, and that's all. You'll be able to create your personal area network. Then your metropolitan area network, which is again a very nicely designed thing. Okay, so metropolitan area networks, that is a network correct. Okay, large geography area. Large geography area, again the things are limited. Limitations are there in case of man also. Okay, so it is a network that covers a larger, it's not largest, it is larger geography area by interconnecting a different LAN. So you can connect different LANs which you create at different locations, and you connect it through your MAN, that is your metropolitan area network. So government agencies, they normally use, because it's more secure and more defined resources are required. So government agencies use MAN to connect to the citizens and the private industries. So in MAN, various LANs are connected with each other through a telephone exchange. Okay. So in the most widely used protocol in MAN is your RS-232, frame relay, ATM, ISDN, OC3, and ADSL, which is your modem. These. Okay. And it has higher range than your local area network. Okay, so now if you think about like what are the usage of MAN when we are having WAN into existence, when we are having LAN into existence, when we are having PAN into existence. So the very good example what we can see is your Sehkari banks, local banks. So they use normally a MAN network where the services or your users are defined. So it is used in communication between the banks in a city. One Sehkari bank, their area of operations are limited, so they can use this as an example. Okay, so it can be used for airline reservation also, can be, okay, can be used in a college within a city. So if your college is having different locations within one city, so these things, I mean, you can create your own MAN, okay, through the available resources, and it can be also used for communication in the military, communication by the military, within the military. That's the best example. Now the most superior thing, that is your WAN, that is your wide area network. Now here the limitations goes away. You can talk about anything here. The limitations are infinite. There are no limitations. You can create the way you want. Okay, so wide area network is a network that expands over a large geography area. Here geography is not a restriction. Okay, so such as your states or the countries. So WAN is quite bigger network than a LAN. A wide area network is not limited to single location, but it spans over the large geography area through a telephone line or optical fiber cable, or through satellite links also. Now, if we talk about the fiber optic cable, here these days all subcontinents, all continents are connected through the optical fiber cable as a redundant than your satellite links. Okay, so when you are having the fiber optic cable, these cables are run through your oceans, that is at the ocean's bed, and these are known as your transoceanic cables. Okay, and the internet is one of the biggest WAN in the world. Now entire internet is running through your WAN. Okay, so a wide area network is widely used in the field of business, government, and education. So when we are talking about WAN, as I said, the limitations are not there. Whatever you want, you will be able to do, provided you have the resources. Okay, so that is your mobile broadband. Last mile. Now last mile, it can go with the fiber, it can go with the satellite link. So when we are saying last mile fiber connectivity, means fiber or a cable which comes directly to your premises through the end point of the provider. Okay, and it gets directly terminated within your premises, so it is known as your last mile fiber or last mile link. Okay, and your private network, which can be data. All right, so now if we talk about the advantages, now definitely when you are talking about technology, some of the advantages are there, some of the disadvantages are also there, but if you talk about disadvantages, definitely that can be override, definitely, yes. So advantages, if I'm saying, so geographical area, so provides a large geographical area, centralized data, okay, get updated files, exchange messages, sharing of software and resources, global businesses. Okay, and your bandwidth, if you are saying, so if we use the lease line for our company, then this gives the high bandwidth. Now all these things are possible through your wide area network. It can go, if you are talking about the bandwidth, it can go to some gbps also. If you are having a WAN connection, okay, where you will be provided with a static IP address which can be extended to your user through netting and all. All these things can be taken care of if you are having a WAN. Okay, so here if I'm saying exchanging messages, so messages are transmitted fast. The web application like Facebook, WhatsApp, Skype allows you to communicate with the friends. No, so now if I'm talking about the disadvantages, as I said, these disadvantages can be taken care of. Okay, so security issue, if I'm saying, so WAN network has more security issues compared to your LAN and WAN. Now here we have to understand that why more security issues. Okay, so in a thumb rule, if I say in a layman's language, what is happening here? So LAN, you know your resources, you know your machines, you know to whom I am connecting. In case of man also, you know, geography is known, limitations are there. But here, since it is a WAN, it is a limitless, there are no limitation. So definitely security issues exist, but these can be taken care of by by applying certain protocols, okay, encryption methods, which at the later part will be covered in your these 10 day sessions also. Okay, so this needs your firewall and antivirus software. So the data is transferred over the internet, so definitely you want to have your data secured from the hackers. Okay, so you can have the firewall, you will have the defined rule, who will be accessing your files, it can be restricted. All those things can be taken care of by using a firewall. Okay, so some people can inject the virus in our system, so antivirus is needed to protect from such viruses. As I said, if problem is there, definitely there is a solution which exists, which can be applied. Okay, high setup cost. So when we are saying a high setup cost, that is an installation cost of the WAN network is high, as it involves the purchasing of routers and switches. Now switches are of again various categories. Two categories which are available, that is a switch which can operate at layer 2 and a switch which can operate at layer 3, that is your a switch which operates over data link layer and a switch which operates at the network layer. Okay, so all these things can be used for installing your WAN network. And troubleshooting of problems, since your covers a large area, so fixing up the problems is difficult, but definitely the solutions are available, people are working over this, and we are getting our connections, we are getting our resources without any issues. Okay, so next, when we are talking about all these technologies, when we are talking about connecting all these resources, so we require some topologies. So when we are saying topologies, so the most important topology which always we talk about, that is, and the most secured which we talk about, which we know, that is your star. Okay, so topology defines the structure of the network of how all components are interconnected with each other. That is, two types of topologies are available. One is physical topology and second one is your logical topologies. Okay, so physical topology is geometric representation of all the nodes which are available over the network. Okay, so we will try to see one after one. Okay, so the first one is your bus topology. As you can see, you'll have a one single network backbone, and through this backbone every user is going to be connected, or every user is going to get serviced. Okay, so it is a single cable, so which works as a backbone cable. Okay, so when one node wants to send a message over the network, it puts the message over the network, and all stations available in the network will receive the message whether it has addressed or not. This is again a disadvantage. Okay, so IEEE standard which it follows, that the bus topology is mainly used in 802.3, that is your Ethernet standard, and 802.4 for standard networks. Okay, so the most common access method of the bus topology is your SISMA. Okay, So when your carrier will be sensed to provide the access, that is your SISMA. Okay, so when you are saying a SISMA, so what it is? So it is nothing but it is a media access control used to control the data flow so that the data integrity can be maintained. That is the packages that do not get lost. Okay, will be ensured through the SISMA. Okay, there are two alternative ways of handling the problems that occur when two nodes or messages simultaneously accesses. So that is your SISMA CD and SISMA CA. That is your collision detection and collision avoidance. Okay, so carrier sense multiple access, collision detect and collision avoid. All right. Yeah. So advantages are low cost, moderate data speed, and the limit. Okay. So as I said, the queries definitely I would like to address those, but one after one we will try to take it up. All right. So you can drop your queries in the chat box. Okay, I'll take all those queries at once for during tomorrow's session. Today since it is the first day, we are starting up with this delivery mode. Okay, so the bus topology. So the bus topology, when we are talking about a bus topology, so it is designed in such a way that all stations are connected through a single cable as your backbone. Okay. Now next part. Next is your ring topology. Again, ring topology also works like a bus topology. As you can see, all of these are connected through a one single cable. So in ring, it can be a bidirectional or it can be unidirectional. But when you are talking about ring, always your data will be traveled through a unidirectional mode only at an instance of time. So it is like a bus topology, but with connected ends. All right. So the node that receives the message from the previous computer will retransmit to the next node the data flow in one direction, that is the unidirectional, as I said. So the data flow in a single loop continuously known as endless loop. Okay, always it goes into endless loop. Okay, it has no terminated ends, that is each node is connected to other node and having no termination point. Right, so data in ring topology flows in a clockwise direction always. Okay, so the most common access method in a ring topology is the token passing. So when we are saying token passing, is nothing but it is a network access method in which the token is passed from one node to another node. And when you are saying token, it is nothing but it is a frame that selects or that circulates around the network. Okay, so these are the advantages of having your ring. Okay, so advantages are your network management, the availability, cost, and reliability. All right, so as I said, this one is also connected to your ring only or single cable only. Okay, so disadvantages, these are difficult to troubleshoot. Failure, if the failure happens, it is difficult to identify that where the failure has happened. But if you are talking about ring, what I say, if there is a problem or if problem exists, then exactly you will be able to identify by some tool, because in a network no single resource can work independently. Okay, everyone is dependent. Okay, so if a problem exists, then the resources are available. Okay, so advantages, disadvantages are difficult to troubleshoot, failure difficult to reconfigure. All right, next is your star topology. So star topology is an arrangement of the network in which every node is connected to the central hub, switch, or a central computer. So this is the most most popular All right. So in another way, what you can do is, if you want to see the very successful network, so it has to be a hybrid network only. As I said, no single topology is going to serve the purpose of today's requirement. All right. If you talk about that, I will have only star and my requirements will be satisfied. No, satisfied. No, it will not happen. Okay, you have to have a hybrid kind of thing. Okay, so star topology is an arrangement of network in which every node is connected to the central hub, switch, or a central computer. Likewise, your labs, like your labs, computer labs, all those are through your star topology only. Okay. So the central computer is known as server, and the peripheral devices attached to the server are known as your clients. Okay, and what will be used, that is your coaxial cable or RJ45 cables. RJ45 connectors with the cables are used to connect the computers. Now here two types of cables comes into the picture. The most popularly what we use these days, that is your Cat5 and Cat6, that is your category 5 and category 6 cables. So if you want to use category 5 cables, you use it for shorter distance, that is less than 80 meters, that is suggested. And if you want to go beyond 100 meters or beyond 80 meters, sorry, up to 100 meters, you can go with your category 6. Okay. And if you talk about the speed or the bandwidth which you are going to get, definitely at both the cables, the requirement gets satisfied. Okay, other than this, there are more cables are available. 6E is available, Cat7 is available. Okay, but their purpose is somewhat something different. Okay, for longer distance, you can use with the more data which you want to send it across. Okay, so advantages: efficient troubleshooting is possible. Network control, definitely, since you are here at the center, you know that who all are connected with. So in the star, you will be having a proper control over the network. Limited failure will never happen. I won't say never happen, failure happens, but it can be easily fixed and your network can come up very easily. Okay, and if you are talking about the expandable, now this easily expandable, when we are saying, so if we add more number of resources here, okay, so if I expand this, I'll be able to accommodate more number of devices or more number of computers. Okay, disadvantage, yes, if this gets failed, that's it, your entire network will not work or will not function. Okay, now next, that is your tree topology. So when you are saying a tree topology, so it combines the characteristics of your bus and the star. All right. So a tree topology is a type of structure in which all the computers are connected with each other in a hierarchical fashion, in a tree-like structure. Okay. So the topmost node in the tree topology is known as a root node, and all other nodes are the descendants of the root node. Okay. So there is only one path exists between two nodes for the data transmission. Thus, it forms your parent-child hierarchy. And what are the advantages? Support of broadband transmission, easily expandable, and easily manageable also. Okay. So like your like your star topology, this one also provides very limited failure. Because why limited failure? Because the breakdown in one station, it is not going to affect the entire network. If any of this station fails, it is not going to affect the entire network. Your network will as it is function in this case. Okay, so the management is very easy. Point-to-point wiring is there. Now here also, if I'm talking about the disadvantage, so disadvantage would be it is difficult to troubleshoot, because it is very difficult to identify that in case of any problem occurs at any of the node. If fault occurs at node, it would be difficult to identify. And higher the cost, so devices required for broadband transmission can be a little bit expensive. So I mean, you can take it up. And reconfiguration, if I'm saying, which is the another disadvantage. So I cannot reconfigure exactly the way it was earlier if I'm talking about. So if new devices are added, then it becomes difficult to reconfigure the entire network. So, but yes, since we can use the hybrid topology to address the needs, so definitely we can say that no single topology is going to satisfy our needs. Okay, so mesh topology, which is the next one. So it is an arrangement of the network in very simple manner, in which computers are interconnected with each other through various redundant connection. So if you see here, every computer is connected with all other computer nodes. So it's a kind of mesh where every node is connected with other node by one or other way. Okay, there are multiple paths from one computer to another computer. Multiple paths. If one gets fail, I can reach from some other way. Okay, if this direct link is failed, so I can reach from here to here to here. Okay, so link failure will not trouble much. Okay, so it does not switch hub or any central computer which acts as a central point of communication, where we say. Okay, so the internet is an example of your mesh topology, right, where every server is connected with other server in many of the ways. Okay, you can see it by putting a tracer on trace route. Okay, I'll show you tomorrow. Okay, so how the trace route basically functions while reaching from source to destination. Okay, we'll try to do some certain exercises with that. All right, so mesh topology is mainly used for your WAN implementation, where communication failures are a critical concern. So definitely you want to have redundancy. If you want to have redundancy in your network, rather in another words, technically when you say that is your high availability. If you want to have your network highly available, then use the mesh topology. It's a bit expensive, but your things will on the time up and running because redundancy exists. Okay, so mesh topology is mainly used for your wireless networks also, okay, where the form, the number of cables, it is n star n minus 1 by 2. So you apply this formula and you will be able to identify that how many cables and how many nodes can be connected. Okay, so can be found by using the this formula. Now, if I'm saying the mesh topology, another part, that is two types are there, that is fully connected mesh topology and partially connected mesh topology. All right. So when you are saying full mesh topology, where each computer is connected to all the computers available over the network, that is your full mesh. If you are saying partial mesh, so where you can identify your central network and just connect those main computers uh, by highly available connection, so your network will never down, right? So if you want to apply full mesh, so you have to run the connection between between all the endpoints. Okay, so in a partial mesh, not all but certain computers you can connect to, those computers which they can communicate frequently, and it can communicate frequently. Okay, so if I'm talking about advantages, so advantages, as we already discussed, it is reliable since all are connected with each other. There is no dependency over one single connection. All right, communication will be much faster, okay, between the nodes. The kind of communication media, the way you are trying to connect it, establish the connection between the nodes, it can be easily managed. And reconfiguration, definitely it can be easily done. Okay, so it is not going to affect or disrupt your communication between other devices. Okay, so if one link is down, you don't have to worry much. Okay, you can any point of time you can take it out and bring the new terminal or new node into existence. Okay, so about the disadvantages, so in this case the cost, since more number of resources are required, The cables has to run from end to end, so the cost will be more because more transmission media is required. Management, so if number of cables are increased, so management definitely would require more resources you require. So if the network is not monitored carefully, then the communication link failure goes undetected. Okay, so because the time you are going to get the connection, so if any link is failed, you won't be able to understand that is there a link fail or what, unless and until you carefully watch the situation where the best case scenario is achieved or not, right? So you have to monitor it carefully in case of mesh. And definitely the efficiency in this case, your topology, the redundant connections are high, that reduces the efficiency of the network. So always your network will try to identify what is the best case scenario in every case. So this is the types of topology. One topology, I would definitely, as I said, if I'm talking about the hybrid, no single topology will resolve your day-to-day issue in a bigger organization or big organization. So definitely it has to be in a hybrid manner only. So where two or more topologies you can think of. So between two different links and nodes to transfer the data. So you can definitely club more than two, minimum two. So maximum can be anything are combined together. So it is known as your hybrid topology. And similar topology you can connect each other will not result into your hybrid. So if you talk about the example, so we hear many terms. It is that there is a ring topology that exists in the city where it will take care of connections between all all posts, rather what I say, or a bank if I'm saying, okay, one branch of ICICI bank if I'm saying, and the bus topology is in another branch of ICICI bank, where connecting these two topologies will result into your ICICI bank hybrid topology. Okay, so this is another method, and next one is your advantages of hybrid topology. That is, it is reliable. So if a fault occurs in any of the part of the network, it will not affect the entire rest of the network. It is scalable, flexible, and effective, what we can think upon. And next most important aspect, yeah, it is a costly affair. Definitely we are seeing the hybrid methodology, so you'll be reliant upon more than one topology, so your dependency will be more on over the resources, so it's a bit expensive. All right, so next, the most important aspect, that is your transmission modes. So when we are saying transmission modes, so how the data is being transferred between two endpoints. Okay, that is your simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. All right. So when you are saying simplex mode, so what happens? So in this case, the unidirectional data transfer will happen from source to destination. Okay, so the data flow will happen in one direction, only one direction. Okay, half duplex, only at a time one person can either send or receive. If this guy is sending, he'll be only sending till his package gets transferred before he can start receiving the response. Okay, and unidirectional, at the one instance of time, at any instance of time, you can send and receive. Both the things can happen. Right. So this transmission mode is not very popular, if I'm saying, as mainly communications require the two-way exchange of data. The simplex mode is used in the business fields as the sales that do not require any corresponding reply. Okay, so if I want to address, so it will be only one direction. All right. So another example, the broadcasting stations, the radio stations, it is again your simplex channel. As it transmits the signal to the listeners, but never allow them to transmit back. Okay, so if you are talking about computers in the field of computers, so I can say that monitor and keyboard, the best examples of your simplex. So there is no receive kind of thing. Okay. So advantages, if I'm saying that the station can utilize the entire bandwidth of the communication channel, as I'm doing now. So it's a simplex. You can only send your queries back chat messages. Okay. So the more data can be transmitted at one point of time. If I'm saying the disadvantages, so communication is unidirectional, so it has no intercommunication between the devices. It will never happen. In the case of half duplex, if I'm saying, since the transmission in either direction but not simultaneously, so the direction can be reversed. That is, the station can either transmit and receive the data as well. Okay, message flows in both the directions but not at the same point of time. Okay, it will definitely flow, but it will not flow in the same at any instance of time or simultaneously. Okay, so the best example you can see, if you had ever came across the walkie-talkie, press and talk, release. Okay, if you want to communicate, if you want to send, you just press and you talk, your data will be transmitted through that device, the walkie-talkie. And once you release, you will be able to listen back what other person is saying in the other side. Okay, and next thing is your full duplex mode. So send and receive both can happen at any instance of time. So in full duplex mode, the communication can be definitely bidirectional. Okay, so both the station can send and receive the messages simultaneously. Full duplex mode has two simplex channels, because see here I am sending also and I am receiving also. Okay, so one channel can be for traffic movement into one direction, and another channel has traffic flowing in opposite direction. Okay, so it is the fastest mode of communication between the devices. All right. Now, on the basis of this particular table, you can easily compare between the things, that is your simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. So communication is unidirectional, bidirectional, but one at a time. That's the condition. Okay, full duplex, both can send and receive. Performance wise, if I am saying, so the performance of half duplex mode is better than your simplex. Okay, the performance in the full duplex mode is better than half duplex mode. So full duplex mode, definitely this is the better performance among simplex and half duplex mode, as it doubles the utilization of the capacity of the communication channel. The examples can be your radio, keyboard, and your monitor. So half duplex, as we discussed, is going to be a walkie-talkie. And if I'm saying a full duplex mode, so it is a telephone network which we can talk about it, right? It is a form of full duplex mode communication. Now, coming to our last part, that is your simulator tool. So why this simulator tool is essential? So there are many reasons, because if you want to establish, if you want to design a network to see that whether whatever available resources I have with me will be able to satisfy the needs of 100 different hosts. Okay, so I won't be able to do that unless and until I'll have a mechanism to design and see that what all changes are required to be done. So in this case, what Cisco came across, that is your simulator tool, that is your NetAcad. But many a times what happens is we normally go to internet and try to find out if any tool is available free of cost. But many a times we come across a point where we won't be able to get any tool with the latest version. Okay, so are you able to see my browser here? I would like to show you that how you can get a free tool, freely available tool. Kira madam, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Browser is visible?
Yes, sir. Browser is visible.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you. Yeah. So how to create your account over the Cisco Packet Tracer, which we are going to see now. The freely available versions are of lower, lower side. It is up to Cisco 5 and up to Cisco 6. You will get 5.3, 5.4, or 5.5 through any of the available website. But if you go to their website directly and try to explore that whether Cisco Packet Tracer is available with the latest version, yes, it is available, and that too free of cost for all of us. So nothing have to be done. So in this case, I just run through the slides first so that we'll be able to understand where is required to go. So let's go to So network simulation tool. So simply you need to go to netacad.com. This is a Cisco Networking Academy. Okay, over this website, you'll be able to get the free account along with the access to the latest version of the tool. Okay, so there you select the packet tracer. Okay, after selecting the packet tracer, you go to introduction to packet tracer. That is this link. You have to click to sign up. Just go ahead and sign up to get your activation link over your email, that is your registered email, and then from there you will be able to download your free tool. Okay, so I'll try to just run you through this. So netacad.com, directly go there, go inside courses, packet tracer. I want all of you to install today the packet tracer, get yourself registered over netacad.com, get the latest version of Cisco Packet Tracer 7 and above, and then today I'll be pushing an assignment. Okay, so just try to complete and send us back to the provided email address, that is your bootcamp.cns@pccpune.org, and we will evaluate and we will try to see that how the things are going, whether you are able to do it or not. Okay, so please do that. All right, so introduction to packet tracer course, you need to click this. Okay, so here you'll be able to see that, okay, length is 10 hours, cost is free, level is beginning. Okay, so beginners level, sign up today, just sign up. Okay, so once you sign up, you will receive an activation link and then you can download. I have an account which is registered. I'll try to show you that. Let's see. Yeah, so I've created my account with r.vadali@pccpune.org, and I'll simply enter into this. Okay. So here you'll be able to see all what is currently going on. Okay, what courses are available. Okay, so here I've enrolled for a course that is Introduction to Packet Tracer, Cisco Virtual Academy, and resources. Inside resources, you'll be able to see that what all examinations are available, and the third link, that is your download packet tracer. Okay, so if you click this, it will take you to a page where all versions of your packet tracer are available. Okay, for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS versions are available. Okay, so as per your requirement, as per your OS requirement, you can download a fresh copy for CCNA 7, 7.3, and all the later versions, earlier versions are available here in this repository. You can download it and you can try. So I'll trying to show you what is required to be done for today's exercise. So you simply need to go to Cisco Packet Tracer for today's assignment, and I'll be sending you a .pkt file. So you simply need to load that .pkt file into the account, because when we are talking about the packet tracer, so packet tracer stores the file with dot extension, that is .pkt, like your PDF file stores by extension .pdf. Likewise, your pkt file or packet tracer file gets stored with .pkt extension. So here, if I click user login, it will ask for the login. So it will not allow you to directly to use without a login. So you have to log in. Okay. And if you don't log in, it won't allow you. Okay. So, see, this is available now. So this is the latest version. So what I suggest you that just go at the bottom left hand side, where you will be able to see that what all network devices are available. Okay. So what all network devices are available, you will be able to see here. Endpoints, you have PC, laptops, servers, okay, printers, anything you can, whatever available devices are there, you can use it. Components, MCU boards, your SBC boards and things. These are the connector cables. You can go with the, if you are not aware that which type of connection is required, whether it is a copper straight, copper crossover, you can use this tool. It can tell you that which uh, connection you are supposed to use. And then your console cable, copper straight through, copper crossover, your fiber, phone, all those things are available. And your miscellaneous and your multi-user connection. Okay. So all these things are available. Just try this. Just roll your mouse over and just try to explore that what all things are available. And today, by end of the day, I'll be sending you one .pkt file. It will be coming to your registered email ID, and you just try to open that file and load it here, and just see that how the packets gets transferred, and whether I'll be able to do a ping, how to do a ping, that I'll show you tomorrow. Okay, so but for today, you just download the latest version of Cisco Packet Tracer and get it installed. And if any questions are there, you can take it up now. Yeah, over to you, Meera madam. Thank you.
Okay. Before the question answer session, just clear 2 points from participants' point of view. First thing is for few of them voice or video is not clear. So we'll be sharing the link of video so that participant will get the idea related to whatever the points they have missed, and accordingly they can
Definitely.
complete the assignment.
Yes, correct.
Secondly, if anyone is not on Telegram group, we'll share the link soon on the chat box. Please join the Telegram group for the latest update related to this bootcamp, which can be quickly shared with all participants.
Right.
And next is, don't worry about the attendance. We'll let you know how it will be there. Okay. We'll share one link soon where you have to just write your name and a few details, and you have to submit that particular Google form. We'll be sharing this with other also, because few of them are not able to join this session because of today's network issue. So don't worry if your friend is not able to join the session, just tell them that you can join it, or you can just fill up that particular form and complete the assignment after watching the video. That is the mandatory part for this bootcamp. Sir, from your point, if any instructions are required, please.
Yeah, once you complete your assignment, so if you have any questions, you can definitely, we are going to take it up. And you just submit the assignment back to me. Okay, you need to what you can do is simply you can change the name of endpoints. Okay, there you will be able to see the end devices. Okay, you just change the name of end devices so that I'll be able to understand that whether you were able to see the file and do the stuff or not, and submit it back tomorrow before the session starts. Okay, so I'll be able to address the queries if you are having any in that point of time. Thank you.
Okay. Now Shubham. Hello, Shubham. Shubham, am I audible to you? Can you read out the question a little bit loudly because your voice is less. Hello, Shubham.
Yeah, madam, if he's having the questions noted down, you can send it across and we can address them in tomorrow's session also if the
Okay,
connectivity
so
is
few
not
of the
that
basic
good.
questions are there because that are required.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. It's not like that, but I'm just saying that is those
Yes,
ones
yes. So
which I
I'll
can.
read out few of the questions.
Yeah,
What
please.
is LAN? What is LAN?
Yeah, LAN is local area network. Okay, so within defined area, if you try to have your machines connected locally, that is your local area network. Yes.
Sir, one more question. Which one is better, wireless or wired network?
See, now this is very good question. Now, what I would like to say here is now entirely depending on the requirements, the kind of requirement you are having. So you should be opting for the type of connection. So if you directly ask me which is better, so I'll say LAN is better because you are getting a physical connection. Okay, you are getting defined connection. There will not be any kind of drop. Okay, your latency would be less, jitter would be less. Okay, so if you ask me directly, yes, LAN is best. But nowadays people wants to go wirelessly also, so things are getting improved. So the call can be taken upon. Yes. Next, please.
Ethernet cable is an example of what? Twisted pair or coaxial cable?
Yeah, it's a twisted pair Ethernet cable. So if I guess all of us from the computers, IT, and the electronics background. So if I'm saying that when you go to your lab, you can just see the cable which is connected between two endpoints, that is between the IO box and your computer. So once you take that cable out and just try to remove the sheet, you will be able to see. I'll try to show one second. So if you see here, these all are twisted pairs. Okay, so these are twisted pairs. So when you are saying a twisted pair, so normally you get 4 pairs. Alright. So depending on the type of connection, you go either with the straight or with the crossover. But due to time limitation, we won't be able to demonstrate it. But yes, it can be four pairs you get in a cable. It is a LAN cable. Yes. Next, please.
Does MAN network is used within the cities? Like suppose I want to connect Pune with Lonavala. Should we use MAN or WAN?
See, now the thing is that it depends. See, if your resources are known, as I said during the explanation also, if your resources are known, you can definitely go with WAN also, where you will have your personal network. Okay, it's a kind of personal network. When you are saying WAN, it's a wide area network where you are trying to join different local area networks. Okay, so if you are having one premise here in Pune, which you want to connect it to the one lab, Lonavala, so definitely you don't want to run your cable from this location to that location, right? Neither you will be getting the peer-to-peer connection. So what you are going to do, you are going to dependent over the now all of these things depends on your kind of resources which are available with you. If you are able to run the cables also, you will be able to get the man also. It entirely depends. Yeah. Next, please.
Which topology is best and how to decide which one is used?
Yeah. So if you ask the topology, best topology, what is available if your requirements are not like very time critical, so you can go with any of the available topology, but from the speed perspective, from the bandwidth perspective, from the maintenance perspective, star and mesh, that's what we can say. But again, network, if you are talking about a computer network, so you have to understand few of the things that what are your requirements. Now, if you ask me that which topology is best, I'll say mesh topology is best because it suits to my requirement. Okay, where we are having plenty of users who are coming daily in and out. Okay, and even one machine, if it goes down, we don't want to see. Okay, so depending on your requirement. So both the things, it has to be in a hybrid fashion. Okay, because as I said that one topology will not never suffice the needs in today's requirement, in today's world. Yeah. Next, please. So,
How does bus topology work if the network traffic is heavy or nodes are more?
yeah, bus topology, as I said, the limitations are there. Bus topology is not very popular kind of topology because here the resources would be limited and you are dependent on your single lane, that is your CISMA, as I said, that is your carrier sense multiple access. Okay, so if the traffic will be more, then your performance will not be that great. Okay, so in that case you have to go with the hybrid only, right? Yeah. Next, please.
Variations of CSMA.
Variations of CISMA. CISMA is two types, that is your CISMA CA and CISMA CD. So when you are talking about CISMA CA, that is your collision avoidance. So what we do, so it is an access method which normally used to avoid the collision by checking whether the transmission media is busy or not. So every time when you want to put your packet over the transmission media, you have to check through the mechanism that whether the transmission media is busy or not. If it is busy, you have to wait for your turn before you want to send your data. Okay, so technically when you are saying CISMA CA, so you always try to work towards the avoidance, whereas if you are saying CISMA CD, CD is nothing but your collision detection. So collision happened and you are trying to detect. Okay, so once the collision is detected, so what will happen? So whomsoever is sender is going to stop transmitting the data, and it works with recovery after the collision method. Okay, so if you ask me that what to apply, so definitely you always want to go with CISMA CA, right? Because you don't want to I mean you don't want to address once the problem comes into the picture. Rather than proactively you want to work and to avoid the collision and all. Okay. Next, please.
In a ring topology, if the resource is to be shared to the third node by the first node, is it vulnerable from other nodes in the same network, mainly the second one?
Yes, it is. It is. It is vulnerable.
VPN virtual private network is the part of computer network. Can you explain?
Yeah, virtual private network is nothing but you are having your resources at one location, and if you want to access it by sitting out of the premise, then again your VPN will not be again the part of your LAN. Rather, you have to be reliant upon the WAN through which the connection is going to be established to a location where your resources exist. So VPN is nothing but it is a mechanism to ensure the endpoint connections. Okay. So you create a tunnel, you send your packets to a secured manner, and then you receive the responses back. Yes. Yeah, Shubham, if any other questions are remain, just mail it across, and tomorrow we'll try to access. How many are there remain?
You are remaining 5 to 6.
Yeah. So what we will do is just send it across. So again, we will take it up.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Participants, sir will address all the queries soon. We'll be sharing that queries with the sir. Okay, and tomorrow at the beginning, sir first address all the queries, and then sir will start with the next further session.
Ma'am,
Can you, sir,
Yes, sir.
can you explain how to submit the assignments?
Okay, sir, please. This question is
See,
required.
as I said, how to submit the assignment. So one packet, one .pkt file I'll be sending. You simply need to solve that and send it across, send it back to bootcamp.cns@pccoipune.org. How to submit the assignment? You have to attach the assignment with your name, okay, and that assignment you are going to mail it back to us to bootcamp.cns@pccoipune.org. The email address is mentioned on your document which you have received yesterday, the instructions.
Okay. So can we share, sir, one steps to submit the assignment for day one?
Yes, yes, they are going to get the step. I'm going to write the steps also in the email.
Okay.
Email I'll send
Okay.
it to you, and the same email you
Yes.
can forward it to rest of the participants.
Okay. Okay. So don't worry about the assignment. Soon we'll share the link of video, the steps to submit the assignments, how to proceed for that. Okay.
I will write the steps and we'll send it across. The submission.
Yeah, we'll share it on mail also. Now we are sharing the Telegram link here on chat box. Okay. Those who are not the part of Telegram group, please join that group so that it will be convenient to talk about the daily basis. And nextly, we are also sharing one Google form. Please reply and submit that Google form. Okay? And please share your thoughts about the today's session in chat box.
Yeah, ma'am, can I conclude?
Yes, Saloni.
Okay. I'd like to thank PCCOE management, our principal Dr. G.V. Parishwar sir, IEEE Pune section, IEEE Computer Society chapter Pune, HOD Dr. Sonali Patil ma'am, and Computer Network Security Group of IT Department PCCOE. Thank you so much everyone for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Links, please reply to those links. We'll be sharing those links on mail also. Okay. Links. Please be in touch. If in case of any query, you can contact to our coordinators. That coordinator already involved or at least associated with the registration message. Okay. See you tomorrow. Okay. The session related details and the link for tomorrow's session will be shared soon. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
all of you can leave the meeting now.
Yes, madam. Thanks.
Yes. So this is for attending.